Good morning and welcome to another episode of Hatching for Health. Today we are going to be joined by a special guest, Ms. Sadaf Chaudhry. She is a global blogger and she is empowering women to speak the truth. So let's welcome her to the show. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Jessica?
I'm great. It's so nice to
So nice
I'm
to
like, I'm
meet
gonna
you.
hug you.
Yes.
Welcome. Come on.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. I'm so glad that you're in town visiting so that we could actually make this happen, because I know you're not always here, but we're blessed to have your presence.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here myself.
Yes, you're actually in town for something related to a magazine. I believe that they had you come in town to accept an award.
It's for LCA Magazine. It's their 10th year anniversary, and I will be honored as one of the mothers for the Mother's Day soiree in May.
Oh, great.
Yes.
That's so exciting. Well, I will definitely have to attend that.
Yes, absolutely. Please mark it on your calendar.
Yes.
I'll send you the date.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you are a blogger, but you don't just, do this as like a podcast. I mean, it's video, live, one-on-one, basically speaking the truth and just kind of engaging in topics that people don't necessarily want to talk about.
Absolutely. I think it's very important, especially in the South Asian community. We don't like to talk about mental health, divorce, therapy, depression, anything like that. And I'm all for that. I think everyone needs to speak their truth. And when you look at social media, everyone looks so happy. And everybody thinks like everybody has this perfect world and life. And I just want to be very honest how life really is. And I've lived a very unconventional life. So that's where I decided to build my blog.
Yeah, and kind of bring that to light, and
absolutely.
knowing that other people are going to connect with you on every aspect of it, because it's real, and that's what's important. And what is the blog called?
Okay, so the blog is called Being Sadaf. I toyed with the idea a lot, like what I wanted the name to be, and because I'm so authentic, whatever you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I'm not hidden anyway. So I thought Being Sadaf was perfect.
So you're like, let's go with my name, and this is me being me. So Being Sadaf, it is perfect. And do you do this at a studio, or is it like out of the comfort of your home, or where do you?
I started it at the comfort of my home, and then I had an opportunity to host at NTV with Uzair Hassan, which was really exciting because, I got to interview different actors from Pakistan, and that's where I started building like my confidence.
Yeah, that's great.
But,
And he's a great host, so he's a perfect person to. We've actually had him on the show recently, and what he's doing is amazing too within the social media community.
Of course, absolutely.
So, so NTV was actually the first place outside of the home that you started doing some of the hosting.
Yes.
Okay, with some pretty big guests as well.
Absolutely. They were like big superstars from Pakistan, and it was amazing.
And you're from Pakistan.
So
you call American Pakistan. So does that mean you're
So
half?
the thing is, like, my parents are Pakistani.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh,
So
I
am American Pakistani.
Yeah.
That's like my descent. So yes. And I embrace it.
There you go. Makes sense. So right now with the guests that come on, is there like a specific culture that you look for, or is it pretty broad?
It depends. Sometimes, like, I want to talk about mental health. And I want people to understand, like, maybe I'm going through something, and I want people to understand that, life is tough, and bring people on. And I brought on my therapist one time. Oh, and
really?
It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. What a smart move. Yeah. You're like, let's just sit here and have this session live.
And that was probably my busiest one when I had that live session. I had so many people asking questions, and it was exciting because they felt comfortable asking questions. And I think mental health plays a huge part in our life, on our daily life.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, from the moment we wake up, from the moment we go to bed,
it's
all about our mental health.
It really is. Like, I'm just keeping the right mindset, because it's so easy to like think negative and kind of, not stay within like a positive mindset. It's one of the things I think, obviously so many people struggle with, and like you said, don't talk about it. So, talking about mental health and I guess social media, because I know that that's something that I feel like a lot of people are bringing, to the forefront of conversations when you think about mental health. So tell me a little bit about your experience with that and some of the guests you've had in speaking on it.
So I had interviewed a therapist in America, then I interviewed a therapist in Pakistan. And what we talked about was how to handle difficult situations within our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I only know our culture because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was raised. But like stuff like taboo topics like divorce, you don't ever
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. And why are we not allowed to? Why can't we speak the truth?
Yeah.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And some of the guests I brought on, they are very vocal about it as well. And I just wanted people to know that there are other outlets. They can reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like my purpose of my blog is like, hey, I'm here to introduce you to people that can help you.
Of course.
Yeah.
When the person, speaking of divorce, like, I mean, what are some of the things that they bring up, like within your show where, I guess the controversy is created essentially?
So basically, like, especially in our culture, you stay quiet, you don't tell anybody, you don't talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
toxic relationships with your in-laws, your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get away from it and leaving it is very, very difficult because it's a joining of two families.
Mm-hmm.
So we've discussed, you have to really think about yourself. God gives you one life and that's it.
Yeah.
So are you here to please the world or are you
Mm-hmm.
here to please yourself?
That's a great point. It's like it even makes me think for a second. You're like, hold on, because we tend to just like we get so busy and like and not focusing on like that problem, and it's like push it away, like whether it's relationship related, work related, and we just keep going, and we're like and then it comes back up, and we push it back down, and it's the reality is like deal with it. We have one life, and if we don't, then you're going to regret it later. The end of the day is when you're like, God, I really wish I would have just done that, or or stop that, or whatever
Spoken
it might
up.
have been. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, it's so true. And also like with social media, I know, I mean, it just there's a lot of it that feels fake, and I'm I'm a part of that, with like apps and face apps and so many things. I mean, we were talking about about that before the show, and you had touched on something with Kim Kardashian. What was like?
So I read in July of this past year that she was on the Today Show and she got a lot of heat for having filters while she was on the Today Show. And how are we supposed to follow someone and think, what they're doing is healthy when they're filtering their face, their body on an actual show? Like, I'm on your show today, right?
Yeah.
This is what I look like. This is what everyone's going to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to be filtered.
When I walk off the set in person, this is the same thing you'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they give like a false impression of what beauty is.
Yeah.
And that really plays with people's mind, and people start downloading these apps. Like there's this one called Face App. You can actually add makeup, lashes, reduce the width of your like waist.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
It has everything. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm guilty of using it like in a simple way because there's like a sense of guilt almost when you use those things. Like you're like, I don't think that that's okay. There's been times where I like use an app and I'll like filter it, and then I'll be like, no, I'm not going to filter it because I feel fake right now. But then all of a sudden you're scrolling through and you see 4 other people that that they use the Face app, and it's like it's literally like it's addicting. To want to create that perfection image.
I am totally guilty of it because I think we are so critical of ourselves that when we look at a picture, we're like, ooh, my nose looks so big or this, and I need to smooth this out. So if you go on my Instagram, it's filtered, but I'm very honest about it. I'll be like, it's filtered. Yeah. But people don't read it. They're like, you look beautiful, love it. I'm like, oh God, they didn't read like the caption.
You even said something about like, there was a photographer, or no, just a friend saying like, you don't need a professional photographer because you can, take some photos, even have like a slight amount of makeup on, and then just add it. Or,
I have a friend who's a blogger. She's very famous. I don't want to name her, but she came to me and said, stop spending money on photography and photographers. All you need is this Face App, and you go in there, you filter everything, and you're set.
Yeah. And you're ready to go.
And I was like, oh, why am I wasting money on photography? But then when I started doing it, you feel guilty. Yeah. And you feel a little fake.
Mm-hmm. So no, it's very true. I also wanted to touch on, just as it relates to obviously like mental health we just spoke about, but even with like children this day and age, I think that there's a lot going on with I guess kind of putting them with an iPad, for example, and like,
Oh yeah.
and you talk about that a little bit. I know that's something that you've spoken of on your blog.
So I have. I feel like women these days, we're okay. I will put myself in the mix too, so I don't offend anybody. But we're so self-absorbed, like especially working women. They want to come home, they want to decompress, they just want to hand the kid an iPad,
Yeah. Like,
watch TV, and it's basically, studies have shown that iPad is an addiction. It's as bad as being addicted to heroin.
oh,
And these mothers don't know about it, and they don't
Mhm.
really pay attention, and they don't understand, like, a child's brain is developing and they need attention, and they want your attention. They don't want
Mhm.
anyone else's attention.
Yeah, and putting an iPad in front of them is not.
That is causing them to have mental health issues really early on in their lives.
Mhm.
As they grow older, they're not going to remember these moments like, oh, my mom took me to the park, or we sat there and colored, or you know what I mean? Like watched a movie together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is, that that's just kind of become the norm?
I think the world has become so superficial
Mm-hmm.
that it is accepted.
It's like putting other things as a priority over that time.
And we brought this child into the world, or say you adopted the child, you're responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Why give them something that is detrimental to their health?
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell me, you've lived here in Texas, or Houston, I should say, and then you've also ventured out to New York and live in Cincinnati right now. So tell me about kind of the journey with that.
So when I got married, I moved to Chicago, actually. I lived there for 8 years. Then my husband was promoted to ABC here, and we moved to Houston. I lived here for 7 years, and then he was promoted again. And this is the interesting thing in our culture, that I wasn't really asked,
Yeah.
like, do you want to move? It was more like, hey, we're moving.
We're moving. This is
And I
happening.
literally had to move in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was crazy. And we moved to New York. And then, obviously everybody knows he got sick. And I needed family support and help. I moved back to Cincinnati. It's very wholesome. It's like Houston, just like a smaller version.
Really?
Yeah. And I love Houston. Houston's home. It's my heart. I feel like this is where I actually found myself.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you say everyone knows. So just for viewers of ours that
Yes.
don't know, so your husband actually was, after y'all had moved there was a diagnosis that
3 months into him being vice president for ABC, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma grade 4, which is the rarest form of brain cancer, and people do not survive more than a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very, very brutal.
That moment. And you guys you have a 10-year-old now, but he was
9.
He was 9.
Yes.
Which is an age they understand. I mean, that.
Oh, he would Google everything. We didn't tell him.
Yeah.
So he would Google it, and he would come to me and say, they didn't have treatment back in 2012. I'm like, how do you know this? He's like, oh, I Googled it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So how is he doing now?
So, as you know, I'm a big advocate for therapy and mental health. He goes to therapy.
Good.
He has a grief group where he actually talks to people who have gone through worse experiences than him. So he feels a little bit better and comforted.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great environment to put him in,
Absolutely.
as a mother. So good job on that.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want to end on something so traumatic, but I know
I understand.
I know we had a short time here, but I definitely want to have you back for one, maybe when you come back in May.
Yes, I would love
and
that.
How can people find you and listen to your not podcast, actually read your blog? Is it tied to a podcast essentially?
So my blog is beingsadaf.com.
Okay. Beingsadaf.com.
And then on Instagram, you can find me. It's being.sadaf.
Okay.
Apparently somebody took being Sadaf.
Good thing,
so.
yeah. Good thing the dot one was available though. That's easy,
Yes, being.sadaf. And I'm constantly posting things in my stories, and I talk about toxic relationships. I talk about mental health, how to help yourself, and finding boundaries within relationships, healthy boundaries.
I'm gonna definitely be following all of this, and then a lot of these are then added to YouTube, so people can go back and watch things that have already been viewed.
Of course,
Okay.
yes. So
that's
my
wonderful.
YouTube channel is Being Sadaf.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
yeah.
Well, it was so good to have you on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thank you. I'm so excited you had me, and I've heard so much about you, and I was really excited when I heard that
Yeah.
I had the opportunity.
I know, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in, and you can go to being.sadaf on Instagram or look her up on YouTube and learn more about all of these controversial and taboo topics that she continuously brings about. And we'll see you right back here next Saturday.